from that point, he gradually gave up everything, and ultimately he reached that same state that he reached while he was following the teachers Alāra, Kālāma, Uddaka. He entered that state called neither sensations nor no sensations. And he gave up that also, and he came to what is called the cessation of feeling and sensation. That is a complete stopping of that activity called mind. He began to understand that what is called the mind is not another entity separate from the body. Most people think mind and body are two entities which are separate. That is not true. What is called the mind is simply an activity of the body. And that activity can be stopped. And so he stopped that activity. So when you stop that activity, the body becomes like a dead body. There is no mind, there is no thinking. But there is a difference between the dead body and this body, where the mental activity has stopped. The difference is there is what is called today in the modern world, it is called metabolism. If you know about what that is, you'll know it. It is simply the basic activity where the sugar molecule is broken up into water and carbon dioxide. That kind of activities, they are just to provide the energy for the maintenance of the body. And because that activity is there is a temperature in the body. So two things are present. In the dead body, the temperature goes away and the metabolism stops. But in this body, the temperature remains and the metabolism remains. But there is no thinking or consciousness. That state is what I call Avijjā. The Pali word Avijjā comes from the root with. Vid is simply sensation. With Vedana, the word Vedana is also coming from the same root. Vedana is the sensation. And Avijjā means the presence of Vedana. But in this particular state, the Vedana has stopped. The sensation has stopped. And therefore it is the absence of Vedana. So I was trying to find a good English word to translate this state. And that is the word insentience. Insentience. The absence of sensitivity. It's called insentience. How the Buddha or the Prince Siddhārtha didn't stop, remain in that state for a long time. After some time, he automatically woke up again. And as he woke up, what happened? He began to see how this process of perception creates the world that we are aware of, and ultimately creates also the self that we are aware of. In other words, the objective experience and the subjective experience is created by this process of perception. And with that comes all the sufferings in the world. A detailed description of that is what is called the Paṭiccasamuppāda. It is only by fully understanding this, by becoming aware of it, that you awaken from the dream of existence.
You mentioned Avijjā. So when the mind has stopped with this Saññā Vedayita Nirodha, you mentioned that is also Avijjā.
What?
Insentience.
Insentience.
And that is Avijjā.
Yeah.
Now, all the translations we ever come across always said Avijjā is ignorance. So how do we reconcile that understanding then? Because there's a lot of explanation about Avijjā as ignorance, but now you're pointing out that Avijjā is really insentience.
You see, if ignorance is possible only for a person who is conscious. If you are unconscious, you can't be ignorant, no?
That's right. That's what I also felt when I read the Paṭiccasamuppāda.
You have to first be conscious before you can be ignorant.
Yeah. This in fact was the point that made me question the traditional explanation of Paṭiccasamuppāda. We could not possibly start with ignorance when we don't even have Vedana and all these sankhara.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there can be no ignorance without sankhara.
Yeah.
That's why I felt ignorance was not a good explanation of the meaning of avijja. So that's why I realized that Bhante's translation of avijja as insentience is actually the more precise explanation of avijja. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is going to be very difficult for all of us as students, because every time we read any book that mentions avijja, it just says ignorance, and everything is explained around ignorance.
No, this
So-
is because you see the word avijja is explained as not knowing the Four Noble Truths.
Yeah.
So if avijja is not knowing the Four Noble Truths, then it can be called ignorance. Ignorance of the Four Noble Truths.
So does it mean that there is another meaning of avijja, that when people use avijja to mean ignorance, they are actually not wrong?
No, the problem is the meaning of the Four Noble Truths. You cannot know the Four Noble Truths without knowing Paṭiccasamuppāda. To know the Four Noble Truths is to know the Paṭiccasamuppāda. And avijja is a state where you don't know the Paṭiccasamuppāda.
Yeah.
Huh? So that knowing the Four Noble Truths is not just reading a book and this is suffering, this is the cause of suffering. You see, that is not the knowing the Four Noble Truths.
Yeah.
That's the important thing to understand.
Yeah.
Normally people think, oh, I have read the book and now I know suffering and what is the... Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just on a joking side, I mean, I hear people keep talking about mindfulness. So actually, avijja is mindlessness.
Yeah.
There is no mind. The mind has stopped. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
mindlessness. That's
Yeah.
why I make a joke. I say the ultimate in meditation is to reach a state of mindlessness.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of controversy from that. But I think technically I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Avijja, if we reach Saññā Vedayita Nirodha, that is the state of mindlessness. There is no mind.
Yeah.
So I was not wrong in saying that.